All right, we're going to move to the last tire, exercise. A lot of different types of exercise somebody can do. So let's tie it back to insulin resistance. Somebody trying to either prevent that or reverse it. What are the best exercises? And then what ones are actually going to push us the other way?
We should definitely talk about muscle building. And I talk about that first because, walking is great. Walking helps. It's a very powerful tool. It can be done by anyone. Even a sedentary person can get started with walking. It's low impact, low risk of injury. So we should definitely keep walking. But in terms of what really helps my patients turn diabetes around, it's strength training and building muscle. Why? Because muscle pulls 60 to 90% of your post-meal glucose. So if someone's thinking, I cannot be keto, I cannot be carnivore, I need to have a balance, I need to live a life that I can sustain as a way of eating, muscle becomes a very important piece to this. And athletes are able to go through a moderate amount of healthy carbs without any problem. So it's not that carbs are evil and it has to be down to an absolute zero number. But our bodies are not able to tolerate carbs as we have all these lifestyle factors plus muscle loss. And in India, we have this thing, I don't know if it's the case for you as well, is we have sometimes grandparents who had no diabetes their whole life. But then at 65, 75 plus, these grandparents got old age diabetes. Does that term exist in your world?
I mean, people are getting it left, right, and center at all ages, but not specifically. I haven't heard it that way.
So in India, they say it a lot is, oh, it's there, it's almost like normal is, oh, they only got the old age diabetes. And in my mind, now that I know about muscle, I'm like, that was the sarcopenia that kicked in. It's not like these grandparents are suddenly eating cookies and pasta that they never ate. Most likely, these grandparents have been eating the exact same way, right? They don't change suddenly and change their menu. It's sarcopenia, and muscle loss is really muscle falls off a cliff, muscle mass falls off a cliff after the age of 60 plus. You're really losing muscle if you're not taking care of it. And to me, that's the explanation for this, increase in diabetes in the elderly. So I flip that and I take that to my patients is what, and Peter Attia has this, right? He talks about the centenarian decathlon. I like that paradigm is what do you want to be doing in the last 10 years of your life? And if you think there's anything active you would like to be doing and not just be frail, chair bound, bed bound, with a stick and not able to do things with your body. If you want to be active, you're going to have to reverse calculate, factor in muscle losses, and be building a much higher level of fitness now so that you have that bank and that buffer for the aging related muscle losses that are inevitable. But from a diabetes perspective, I have immediate selfish short-term reasons why I'm prescribing muscle building exercise is it helps us reduce the diabetes medicine burden because the glucose levels just start improving when all these muscles get activated, not just for the duration of the workout, but even 24 hours post-workout, you'll see that the glucose levels are better. Of course, the mood is better and sleep is better. So there's so many spillover benefits into those four wheels of the lifestyle car that we have to, help people get into strength training, get over the idea that just walks and yoga is going to be enough.
All right, so walking is good as a baseline. We want to put on muscle, have that buffer for blood glucose. What I was getting at with the other side is things like, say, marathon running,
Oh,
long distance cycling. Sean O'Mara, who's been on the show a few times, talks about how long distance cardio actually puts on visceral fat, which is a good proxy for poor metabolic health. So, exercise as a whole is good, but when we push it to that extent, it can have a negative effect.
yeah, that's fascinating. I would love to read that research. And I had a cardiologist come on my YouTube, and I asked him this: that does everybody need to be running marathons? And it was almost like I was teasing him with that question because he's the cardiology director for the Mumbai Marathon. So he's like the fitness director for the runs, and he's a runner himself. So it was almost like I was poking at his hobby, but he took it in stride and he was like, look, I run marathons, but that is not an essential component of health. And what we settled on, which is what I agree, is the concept of like zone 2 is build your aerobic base. I don't think it's even natural. Or if I think from hunter-gatherer evolution, if you remember, we were talking about cortisol, that chase for the tiger or the escaping from the tiger or trying to hunt your prey, I don't think it went on for marathon level duration of running. Humans are not actually, I think, designed to be such prolonged runners as an animal. We were probably designed for more sprint and like short bursts of chases and escape needs. And the marathon concept or the ultra, I think these are more extreme sports, more hobby based. And if you love the extreme sport, okay, fine. But I don't think it needs to be part of a metabolic health prescription per se. Zone 2 is probably more than enough.
All right, as we wrap up here, let's talk about somebody adopting what we've talked about today and their trajectory out of this. And obviously, it's going to depend on the person, how far down the line they are, what different modalities they're going to apply, and how strictly. But give us an idea. Somebody that comes to see you, starts to work on this, how quickly can they see changes in reversal of insulin resistance?
Within a week. I mean, if you start dropping your carbs, upping your protein, within a week, I see improvements. And within 2 weeks, not just glucose levels improving, but energy levels are going up. Some of them, I don't want them weighing themselves on the weighing scale so soon because it's probably a lot of water weight at that point, and I don't want to give them some false, excitement over water movement. So not the weighing scale, but just they feel less bloated, less puffy, like as though some swelling is leaving the system. They talk about it that way. And this we know is insulin resistance lowering, the water retention reversing itself, and this water that's under the skin in the wrong place, that starts to get corrected as they up the protein. So within 2 weeks, they're beginning to feel a lot better. The people who will struggle will be the vegetarians or the vegans whose gut may be still very inflamed. And that seems to be one of the like tough stumbling blocks for some people if they have a very inflamed gut. But barring that, within 2 weeks, drastic improvements. So they really need to make sure they're working with their prescriber to change the medicines.
If you enjoyed that clip, you're going to want to head over here and catch the full episode. I'll see you over there.
The majority of people walking around with metabolic ill health, they don't have any signs or symptoms. They feel fine. I was not aware of low carb in 2013 when I got pre-diabetes. I was eating